My name is Catherine Pierce, and I'm the Executive Director of the Susan Curtis Foundation. I had hoped to be meeting and greeting many of you at our annual Leadership Celebration dinner, particularly since this would have been my first dinner as Executive Director. Some of you will recall that I attended the dinner last year, a few weeks before I stepped into this role. These are unusual times, and just as we adapt and innovate at Camp Susan Curtis, we've decided to take a different approach with our event to allow our supporters to engage with us from the safety and comfort of their own homes. In addition to the inspiring content we've posted on our website, we've prepared this recording to share some important updates with you about the potential impact of COVID-19 on our 2020 camp season and communicate a special message of appreciation and thanks to our 2020 sponsors and award recipients. Before I turn it over to Terry to give an update on camp, I want to take a moment to say a few words about our campaign and event theme of nurturing resilience. Resilience is defined as the process of adapting well in the face of adversity or significant sources of stress, whether that stress is a result of racism, bullying, homelessness, food insecurity, divorce, or another significant life event. It can have significant impact on children, particularly those children who are forced to bear these burdens without adequate adult support. We've seen the impact that these adverse childhood experiences have had on our campers and elevate this as an important topic of discussion during our staff training. Our message to staff and to you, our supporters, is that while we cannot take away these negative experiences, we can and do add positive experiences by helping our campers develop positive relationships, feel safe, make social connections, and play and learn with their peers. Oops. Just want to make sure you can see my slide here. A framework out of the Center for Community Engaged Medicine at Tufts Institute for Clinical Research and Health Policy Studies calls this building resilience through hope, healthy outcomes from positive experiences. We thank our friends at the Maine Resilience Building Network for sharing this with us. And we thank you for recognizing the critical importance of these interactions and experiences that nurture resilience in Camp Susan Curtis children and youth. They are truly life-changing.
Thank you, Catherine. My name is Terry Malks, and I am the director at Camp Susan Curtis. Please know how grateful we are for your continued support during this time of uncertainty. Our greatest unknown is whether or not we will be able to host our campers and staff this summer. The stable environment that they look forward to each year is more critical than ever in a world that feels like it is falling apart. At camp, our kids and staff will have a sense of normalcy, able to rely on a schedule of food, fun, and friends. That sense of control and belonging is essential after the isolation and chaos that we are all experiencing right now. I know that many of you share my concerns and are eager to know how our campers and families could be affected by this crisis. Here's what I can tell you today. At Camp Susan Curtis is licensed by the State of Maine Department of Health and Human Services. This is where we look for guidance about our response to COVID-19. To date, there has not been any guidance for Maine summer camps. Prior to COVID-19 and recent school closings, we had registered 260 campers for this summer. These campers are still registered, and we hope to be able to welcome them to camp. We have suspended registration at this time while we await guidance from the State of Maine Department of Health and Human Services. In the meantime, interested campers can put their name on a wait list. The board will explore any and all options to be able to serve campers safely at Camp Susan Curtis this summer. If we are unable to do that, we will consider alternative ways to engage with campers and families. While many of our families have internet connectivity issues, we have had some success engaging families by email and via Facebook. Earlier this week, we shared a fun St. Patrick's Day activity for campers and resources for families on meal sites, locations, and hours. Please follow us on Facebook at Friends of Camp Susan Curtis for additional updates or email us at info@susancurtis.org. Know that we are highly committed to supporting Maine's economically disadvantaged campers and families during this difficult time, and are grateful for your support, which allows us to continue to serve them even in times of crisis. Our hopes are high and our camp spirit is strong that we will all be a camp family this summer.
Thank you, Terry. I'm Elise Corbett, a Camp Susan Curtis alum, a previous alumni speaker, and a member of the Susan Curtis Foundation Board of Trustees. Like Catherine, I was looking forward to expressing my thanks to you in person at our leadership celebration dinner. Economically disadvantaged Maine youth depend on your support to be able to attend Camp Susan Curtis. Without this experience, their trajectory shifts. It isn't a question of ability, it's a matter of opportunity. You have given them a life-altering opportunity. This has led them to believe in themselves and to create their own futures. I know because I learned these critically important life lessons at Camp Susan Curtis too. I went on to get a doctoral degree in counseling psychology and to open my own private practice. And now I'd like to take a moment to honor our generous supporters. We'd like to thank our flower level sponsors for investing so deeply in the children we serve. We'd like to thank Maine Magazine, our exclusive magazine media sponsor, for their generous support at the bud level. We are grateful for our seedling level sponsors. Their support fully sponsors 3 economically disadvantaged Maine children to attend Camp Susan Curtis. We'd like to thank our Sprout level sponsors for believing, like we do, that every Maine child deserves to know and realize their potential. And finally, we express our gratitude to our many seed level sponsors who help make this life-changing experience possible. On behalf of the Board of Trustees and the nearly 500 economically disadvantaged Maine children who discover their value and promise at Camp Susan Curtis each summer, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to each and every one of you for your generous support.
Thank you, Elise. We're fortunate to have the support of many committed individuals and businesses who help make an enriching and life-changing Maine camp experience possible. We were disappointed not to be able to recognize our awardees and their invaluable contributions to Camp Susan Curtis at our dinner, but are glad to be able to honor them nonetheless. Our first award, the Governor Curtis Family Leadership Award, is presented in recognition of exemplary leadership that moves the Susan L. Curtis Charitable Foundation forward through generosity of service and/or financial support. As the facilities manager and camp nurse, Chris and Heidi Darling bring essential expertise to their roles that include the basics like maintenance and treating camper and staff ailments, both real and imagined. But the job descriptions hardly encompass the invaluable impact that they have on the camp experience. As members of the camp leadership team, we rely on their wise contributions and institutional knowledge year-round. Seasonally, their positions work hand in hand with one another. Heidi has to make sure everyone is hydrated, and Chris has to make sure our water is drinkable. When Chris was instrumental in helping us to secure a grant to add mountain biking to our menu of activities, and we didn't realize that most of the campers had never put foot to pedal before, Heidi had plenty to keep her busy. Together, they have modeled healthy family relationships while watching and then become contributing staff members. Their patience, humor, and devotion endear them to staff, and they have been oft voted the superlative as most likely to save the world. They are both so humble and gracious that they don't even realize that they're already doing it. Congratulations and thank you to Chris and Heidi Darling for a collective 36, soon to be 38, years of exemplary service and compassion to the children and staff of Camp Susan Curtis. The Susan L. Curtis Foundation Community Partnership Award recognizes a corporation, agency, or business that directly impacts the work of the foundation through in-kind services. Crooker Construction, a lifelong achievement partner, has supported Camp Susan Curtis for over 30 years with in-kind projects and financial support. In the past few years, Bob Mosley, with the support of Tom Sturgeon and the resources of the company, has coordinated and completed projects that have included critical road repair and the sourcing of hard-to-find items such as wood chips, septic covers, and tables and benches for the dining hall. Bob works tirelessly on evenings and weekends to complete projects and serves as a member of our facilities committee. We are extremely grateful to have had the support over many years of such a community-minded company. Thank you, Crooker Construction, for your generous in-kind services. Finally, each year, we award the Scott Hutchinson Scholarship to a former camper who conveys the significance of character and mentoring as inspired by Scott's example. Applicants demonstrate community involvement, capacity for personal growth and responsibility, and the inclination to respect and help others, all while being enrolled in an accredited college or vocational program with defined career aspirations. Our 2020 recipient, Kaylee Getty, is a sophomore at the University of Maine at Farmington, pursuing a bachelor's degree in secondary education in science. Her goal is to become a middle or high school science teacher, preferably in Maine. Throughout the school year, she volunteers her time at local elementary schools, helping to organize events that are free to the students and their families, including trick-or-treating, ornament nights, book readings, concerts, and art shows. In the summer months, Kaylee, a longtime camper and staff member, shares her passion for science, inspiring campers to learn and explore through hands-on activities. Congratulations and best of luck to you, Kaylee, as you realize your dreams and aspirations.
Thank you, Terry, and congratulations to our award and scholarship recipients. The supporters who were instrumental in the creation of the foundation have always believed that every child matters. Nearly 50 years later, we continue to practice what we preach by elevating care and safety as top concerns for our campers, our staff, and our community. While we regret that we were not able to connect with you in person, particularly as we know that many of you look forward to deepening your connection to the mission that you so generously support by engaging with Camp Susan Curtis alums at the dinner. We are grateful that you took a moment to engage with us in this new way. Please take note of the following additional engagement opportunities that we have planned for the spring and summer. They are, of course, subject to change. Let me just pull them up. Oops. Thank you, and we hope we can count on you for your continued support in helping to make sure that Camp Susan Curtis is possible for economically disadvantaged Maine children. Please take good care and know that we are thinking of you and your loved ones and wishing you good health as you and we work to navigate through this very challenging time.